So about 6 months ago, Creality sent me the Falcon A1 to test the laser. I'd never used the laser before. It was an interesting experience for me. Now, 6 months later, they have the Falcon A1 Pro, the upgraded Pro model. And this layer, as opposed to the A1, which was the 10-watt only diode laser, now they've got a dual laser system. They've got a more powerful 20-watt diode, and they've got a 2-watt infrared. So between the diode and the infrared, that covers pretty much every material you could think of, from all the organics, felt, fabric, paper, wood, of course. And then the IR laser will cover stone and slate and aluminum and all the metals. So you've got a huge variety of material options now. I just want to say one thing. If you do YouTube and you accept one laser for review, it's like the floodgates open. There have been so many laser companies that want me to review their products, and for the most part, I'm just not that interested in lasers. But I was interested in this. I wanted to see what their next iteration was, and I was very curious to see if they'd solved some of my pain points that I had with the A1. So we'll get into that now. So these units come fully assembled. I literally just ripped it out of the box. I already knew all the connection points from the last one. Not much has changed since the last. They've added a screen so you could run things sort of locally. You could run G-code. The venting hose is the same. The main issue with these machines, with these laser machines, is proper venting. That's where you're going to have to do most of your work on, is getting the vents, the fumes outside. I actually happen to have a window here, thank goodness, and I was able to vent outside. I'm actually running it through a purifier and then outside. And you know what? It's still a little stinky, actually. I've tested it with air quality meter. I think I'm really in the safe zone. So it's just the aesthetic sort of stink from the cutting of the wood. So after you do the unboxing, you're gonna have to connect your machine. I have a Mac computer. It's a new Mac. Everything should be good. It's compatible with all the USB 3 style connectors. I still had a hard time doing it, actually, because I skipped the Wi-Fi stage. I skipped doing the Wi-Fi. I'm like, I don't need this thing on the network. You know, I'm just going to do it locally and just keep it at that. It's good to connect to the Wi-Fi right away, and that will prompt you to update the firmware. You'll probably need to update the firmware, and then you can go about making your connections. So yeah, I just the main thing was for me, I didn't do the Wi-Fi first. I had to update, and then it was very simple making a connection. So problem solved there. But that still took a few hours and a few hours of just poking around online. Okay, next, the software. You're gonna have to interface with the Falcon Design Space software or some other type of laser design software at some point. I was very curious. I was like, is the software still in beta? Yes, it still is in beta, which is weird. You think it seems like complete. I don't know how it's still in beta. It's a complete software. It's still, it's fine, but there's some weird quirks to it, and I'll explain them right now. I think what I've gathered, the best practice is everything's connected. All your USB, you've proven a connection before. Start Falcon Design Space first, and then turn on the machine. So I've started Falcon Design Space. Now I'm gonna just simply flip on the machine. In my previous reviews, I go over the safeties with this, and it's got 3 different safeties. It's got an e-stop, it's got an on-off switch, and it's got keys if you wanna completely lock it out and walk away. So that's very cool, it's very reassuring. But yeah, Falcon Design Space first, and then let your machine start up. It should automatically connect if you've made a connection before. It'll go through about 30 seconds of testing out the air assist, and it should be good to go after that. Like everybody else, I went through the camera calibration process with the provided card. You place it in different sectors and you take photos, and then you calibrate your camera. You run a test pattern, and then you take a photo of the test pattern and without moving it, and you see if everything lined up. There's also further controls to tweak any variances. And I found that a little bit better this time. It was a little bit better experience. It's still sort of like, the camera can't auto adjust exposure. It's kind of weird, but it gets you there, definitely. Yes, and it's a little bit more accurate and stable this time. I found that to be an improved experience for sure. I've only been able to find a few sort of training videos. When you're learning some of this stuff, you just watch other reviewers' videos and see what experiences they've had. And I've actually learned a lot from watching their videos. One of the things with Design Space is, say you've got a plaque or a coaster, whatever, and it's 4 by 4 inches, right? If I make an SVG in Illustrator and it's all good, it's 4 by 4 inches, and I import it into Design Space, it's always shrunken a little bit. I don't know why. I've been combed through every possible setting, and I'm like, it should come in 1:1. All my other design programs that I use seem to translate it seems to understand that it's coming, what the dimensions are. I don't know why it does that. The next issue, if I'm designing something in a graphic with text in Adobe Illustrator, I save it as an SVG, it's in outline mode. If I go to like a Cricut, or if I go to the CNC or whatever, I've never had any problems with it not seeing the font correctly or not being able to outline, or any translation issues. I never even thought that was a thing. But for some reason, when I bring it into Design Space, even doing something simple like Helvetica, it represents it as it distorts the letters somehow, and I don't know why it's doing that. I've poked around the font section, I've looked online. I don't know why it's doing that. So those are some issues that I have to solve in the future. So font, sizing, there's some clunky stuff in there, but generally it's a great program, and I think you'll be able to be up and running within the span of a day. Another thing that is new with the A1 Pro is autofocus. On the A1, there was a little thumb screw, and you had to kind of manually move your focal point, your Z-axis up and down, and use one of these little setup blocks kind of based on the power of your cut or how deep it was going to be. They give you one with this too. So they have autofocus in this, and it's run through Design Space software. I've used it. Here, I'll try to do it right now. Let's see what happens. Where's my red dot? There should be a red dot in the middle. Strange. Yeah, usually there's a red dot. That's where you put. So the theory is that there's a red dot in the middle. I don't know where it's gone to right now. I'm going to set autofocusing. Hold on. Autofocus failed. Okay, the light spot is not detected. Yeah, where's my red dot? What's going on? Oh, it's here. Okay, now we have a red dot here, and I've got my material on that red dot. So theoretically, it's using all those things in concert to set the perfect Z height, because as we know, when you're doing a laser engraving, having the correct height, doesn't have to be millimetric, but I find that it just has to be really in the zone to transfer power well enough. Otherwise, it'll be kind of a foggy engraving, or your cut line will be just way too big. So let's try autofocusing again. I'm going to hit autofocus. It should go over there and set it. Come on, oh my God, see? What is going on with you? Why are you having trouble doing this? Sorry about all this, but theoretically it's supposed to, the head is supposed to actually travel over to the point, and you'll see it jogging up and down to find the correct focal distance, right? Herein lies the problem. Every time I've done it, it's never the same. I've used same conditions, like I'm just using the same plate. And when it does it, it's just way too close. Like it's like a half mil off the surface, or it's right on the surface, which in a perfect world, it would be fine, but we're not in a perfect world. Every material that you use, especially once you start engraving and cutting it, this heat activated, all these materials are gonna, once they come from somewhere else and once it comes to you, it's gonna react to the humidity in your specific environment, and it's going to start moving and warping and doing so. Instead of being a perfectly flat plane, now you've got this cupped surface, which is not good for laser to begin with. It's not a deal breaker, but for a laser head that's riding right over the surface, I did this a bunch of times. I autofocused, and it was just so close that slight hump from the warping, it actually just pushed it out of the way, like it would just grab it and scoot it across. That's a total deal breaker too. So, sorry, long-winded story, but what I've just gone back to doing it manually. So this is the process for doing it manually. Okay, so to do it manually, so say I want to cut this 3mm plywood stuff. And I'm gonna take this little thing. It says engraved cutting thickness of basswood 1 to 3 mil. So I want it at this height, like the top height. If you're doing really thick stuff, if you're right at the upper limits of the cutting for this, which is 10mm, you want to get it pretty close. You're gonna want some flat stuff for that, but this is a nice safe height, this top height. So I'm literally just gonna manhandle this. You can move this thing around, it's not gonna destroy your thing. And I'm gonna bring it over top, and I'm just gonna literally push it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna look through here. Yeah, I'm gonna push it straight. It just pushes straight down, and it'll stop. Now I switched to a close-up. And I'm shooting through here. You can see this a bit better. So yeah, again, this thing you can just move it up and down. I'm gonna set my thickness by literally just slamming it right down. It's not very elegant. So let's actually take the opportunity to just set it off the acrylic. Okay, that's pretty good. This is 3mm acrylic, so 3mm, we're good. I'm gonna try autofocusing it one more time. Let's see what happens. Oh my God, it did it. It said autofocus successful. So according to software, that's a successful autofocus. The problem is, it's literally right on top of the material, man. It's like a half mil off. If there's even the slightest bit of warping in this, it's just gonna run right into it and just drag it around and therefore ruin the cut, right? So I'm hoping that isn't correct. I'm hoping that it's some sort of glitch. Like it's not even the same height as like the full maxed out thing. It just can't be right. It can't be right. Let's reset. Okay, good. So next order of business is all the material testing. You're gonna kind of wanna just do some really basic cuts in all the materials that you have available. Creality sent me acrylic, they sent me some boards, and they sent me all these little packs of felt and paper and stuff, and I just cut everything. I even was cutting up the box that it came in just to see what happened. And I was just cutting out little circles or doing a very simple engraving. Stuff like this 3mm plywood cuts beautifully. It produces smoke like, man, it's like you've got a bonfire in there. There's after smoke. It's just crazy cutting through this. Supposedly with this laser, you can cut up to 10 mil, which is about 3/8 of an inch, which would be very hardcore, but I don't have any of that. I'll test it later. They sent me a whole bunch. Look at this packaging. Look how nice this packaging is. This is crazy. This beautiful packaging just for these, like, I think it's like 10 panels. How many panels? Anyway, yeah, it's like, it looks like packaging for like an Apple computer or something. It's crazy. Just for these, it could have been a bit more minimal. Remember, you're always paying for packaging, right? So I don't know, that's a bit nuts. When you get these panels sent from you from wherever you're getting your panels from, the second that you take it out of its protective packaging, it's going to be exposed to your humidity, which is going to be different than the humidity it's been stored in a warehouse in. And it's going to start warping like crazy. You have to figure out a way to deal with it. I had this clamped all night. Actually, it's a little bit straighter now. You want everything flat, right? You do not want to put warped material in there because you're dealing with focal lengths that are fairly unforgiving. So you're going to want to de-warp or de-stress it or get it into your humidity zone first before you use it. So think about that aspect. They sent me felt and paper too. Felt cuts so beautifully on the right settings. There's no scorching, nothing. It was just a beautiful cut, and it actually made me really interested in cutting felt. And see, look how nice this is. It's just a beautiful, precise cut. Paper is nice too, actually. They also sent me packs of acrylic. Unfortunately, I really wanted this to work. I love acrylic. I think it looks so neat. When it's engraved and when it's cut perfectly and you have nice glassy edges, but you just cannot get this with a diode laser, unfortunately. It takes a long time to cut it, has to do it in multiple passes, and it's probably impossible to see, but it has like kind of a funky, just melted, rough edge. It's just not acceptable. I'm sorry, it's not. But you can roughly cut acrylic with this. Definitely, you can definitely roughly cut acrylic, and maybe if you have some sort of smoothing or cleaning method, flaming, I don't know what to do. But yeah, I looked at a lot of articles online to see if there was a clean method, but it's really, you're getting into the CO2 type lasers for that type of thing. Myself, I'm a woodworker. If you're doing signs and stuff like this, yes, a laser is amazing. All those very fine cuts on sort of those lightly three-dimensional signs, this is the perfect tool for it. A CNC is not the perfect tool for it because it's using a router and you have to clamp things down. There's issues with how fine you can make things. So a laser, with its delicacy and finesse and just its very thin, ultra thin cutting line, is the perfect tool for that kind of thing. I don't do any signs or anything like that. What I do is I make furniture. I'm just making chairs right now. So how is this helpful to me if I'm just making furniture and chairs? For me, this would be helpful for things like making templates very quickly, making very fine templates that also have an engraving layer and need to be labeled in some way, making a ruler out of acrylic with very fine lines engraved on it. When you switch to the IR module, then you can get into engraving metal. You can make little nameplates for your furniture, and you can make it look beautiful and very professional. And you could batch off a whole bunch of those and just have them for a long time. So for that kind of thing, for me specifically, that's what I would use it for. And remember, woodworking is a vast world. If you're into guitar making, there's many different templates and jigs and all kinds of things that you might use this for. And especially if you're doing some kind of crafting or signage. There's a wide variety of things you could do with this. And just a laser, just the way it cuts with a floating cutter that's not touching the surface. I don't have to clamp anything. It's just a very unique cutting and has its place for sure. And that's why these devices have been so popular with so many people. Okay, so the first project I'm gonna do is I actually need to update my French curves. I'm gonna take this piece of green acrylic and I'm gonna I've got a template of a French curve. I'm gonna cut it right now in real time and we'll see how it goes. I've got a sheet of green acrylic, 3mm. I've set my focal length manually based on this. I've got a honeycomb plate, so I can do a through cut. Close this. I'm gonna go back to the computer. I'm gonna import. Now I've already taken a photo. Let's update the photo. I'm gonna import, come on. French curve, SVG, open. Okay, good, so I've got it there. I'm gonna go to layers. I'm gonna do right click. Okay, so this is the layer that I'm working. If you right click here, it'll start flashing. You've got these little QR code thingies. I'm gonna use this. I'm just gonna lift the lid, let it scan. Oh, boom, it did it. Okay, so I switched over to that green acrylic. So we'll go to line cutting. So it's gonna do speed 120, very slow, power 70, very high, and it's gonna do a 3 times pass. Actually, it has to work really hard to get through this acrylic. Let's take this to the next level. I'm gonna have an air quality meter right here. I'm just gonna place it right on top of there, and we'll see if there's any changes while it's cutting. So first I'm gonna frame of the project. Okay, so let's start. Let's see what happens. Start. So again, this is one of the things you're gonna have to consider. It takes a long time to cut acrylic, and the results with the diode, unfortunately, it's at its limit. It's not that great. So you're really gonna have to do a calculus of, is it really worth it? The VOCs and everything hasn't changed a bit. There's been no change in the VOCs, so that's very comforting, actually, that there's still a healthy air environment. So it cut through, shape is perfect, edges less than perfect. I'm gonna peel off this paper. It's just so chunky at the edge, oh my God. There's a lot of little grit that falls off too. Okay, so this is like a Westcott, whatever, industrial French curve. It's got a nice smooth edge for the pencil to ride against, right? Yeah, you know what, it's grinding my, it's not even that good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's useful for this kind of thing. Next thing I'm gonna do is just make a little template out of this redwood board. And I'm going to use it for furniture making. It's a template of a little component for a chair. I'm just going to do my material. Understood exactly what it is. It's a weird looking photo because it's glossy material. It doesn't seem to cover every bit of the edges. Armrest templates, yeah, because I already had this set up. Let's drop it up here. Now I'm going to frame. It's weird, you can't see the laser on this one. Okay, now I'm gonna stop frame because I had it cyclic. I just faded. I would just want to see the image a little bit better. I'm gonna check it. I'm just gonna go for it. Start. Okay, that was really quick. That was only like 4 minutes. Yeah, that is a nice template. Edges are very smooth. That's a nice little template, and that came out really fast. This is a great use for this. All right, so what did I learn from this first round of project is that things like wood, things like felt, things like paper, cardboard, all the maybe cellulose-based materials cut beautifully, and it's a very intriguing, gentle cutting system. Plastics and acrylic, no, it's not good for me. The amount of time versus the quality, it's not something I can get behind personally. I think that's a job for a different laser system, but you can do it roughly. And if you were gonna clean up the edges or frame it differently, you can definitely engrave on it. If you have something pre-cut on another system, it's a possibility. It exists there for you if you need it. So now I'm gonna switch modules and I'm gonna move to testing metal. With the IR laser, theoretically, it's a very, 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 very fine cutting system, so you can achieve incredible resolution. And I just have this scrap piece of aluminum. Creality didn't send me any metal to test, so I'll just take some scraps that I have. I've swapped the module to the IR module. It's very easy. You can see online how to do it. It's just ripping it out of there and plugging it in. Oh yeah, so automatically it's detected the 2-watt IR. Okay, so we're all good. This is a great substance. It's black coated aluminum. Something like shiny aluminum. I'm a little bit scared to do it right now. Maybe I'd have to hit it with some tape or some matting spray or just straight up black. Now I'm gonna set my focal length. Yeah. I'm gonna go for the aluminum business card black setting. That's very close to what I want. And again, I can only manipulate the surface here. I'll just do some very small text. Okay, so that's done. Wow, it's so fine. I don't know how I'm gonna get this on camera. Oh my God, it's incredibly fine. Damn, it looks like just like a scratch on the surface, but there's actually text there. This is really cool. Oh my God. I still can't get over how incredibly fine it's beyond my eyesight at any distance. You really have to read it with a magnifying glass. And it's like the retina screen, you know what I mean? It's just so interesting having access to that level of detail, and that it's really inspiring. And I think it's truly the promise of the IR laser that delivers that. I don't have any more metal to mess around with that I'm really comfortable with doing, so I'm not going to do any more tests, but this was an excellent first test. So just the fact that having the diode for all this, the rough cutting and organic materials, and then the IR for the metal adds a ton of value to this system. Can this be called a pro? Like when they say A1 Pro, a lot of people put Pro on stuff just as marketing. Is it truly maybe when the software is out of beta and everything is just this seamless, robust system, then yes, maybe it can be called Pro, but it's definitely an upgrade from the A1. It is very safe. It's a beautiful looking home appliance, and I think it will be a long time before you exhaust all the possibilities of this machine. If you've watched to this point, thank you very much. Please subscribe. I have trouble saying subscribe for some reason. I always say subscribe. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm sure you're going to see this machine making all kinds of accessories for me in future videos. Thanks a lot.